All right. Sorry about that. A few technical difficulties getting on today. Welcome to today's Brown Bag Business Boost. Um, it's Thursday. It is April. We are in the second quarter of the year already. April is Financial Literacy Month. So, as CEOs, it is very important that not only are you focused on your operations, but as well as your financial um, well being and strength. And so I wanted to come to you today just to talk about a little bit about we're still in a place where the market conditions are changing. And so we want to talk about how you can navigate growth pivots, how you can adjust your business model for changing market conditions. And with that, it's also going to help you to be able, as the CEO of your business, to make sure that you are taking your first opportunity in the second quarter, if you haven't already done it in the last couple of days, to make sure that you're looking at how things are going and determining if you need to make shifts. This is the thing about running your own business. You're not tied to any one script. You're not tied to any one action. If I remember when I was an employee, um, that sounds so funny, like when little kids say, when I was little, you still little. Okay, I just left working. But anyway, there would be things and you would be like, I would change that. This is how I would change that. I would do this. I would do that. Well, guess what? As the CEO, as the captain of your own ship, you have the ability to make those shifts so that your business can grow the way you want it to grow. Okay. So let's hop right on in again today. Like I said, and I have a few notes, so when you see me looking down, I'm just checking my notes to make sure that I am staying on time, because I promise you these are 30-minute or less lunch sessions. Every business is going to face moments where the market changes. Okay, customers expectations are going to evolve, and new competitors are going to come on the scene. Anytime any of these activities happen, you have two options. You can either react or you can pivot. Okay. And so reacting leads to short term fixes. That's a band aid approach. That's saying, I'm going to do this because they did that, or I'm going to do this because they did that. What you, what, what you want to do is, I'm saying that there's reacting and pivoting, but what you want to do is you want to go back to what we talked about, I believe it was last week, with you want to be able to forecast when things are going to happen. You want to be able to say, you know what, right now, what's going on in the economy is a little bit similar to what happened during the pandemic. So these are the shifts that I need to make. You want to know, what are your business's cycles? Are there times of the month, times of the year where your business, you have more clients than other times? You want to be attuned to your financial data, what is going on in your business, so that you're able to predict what's going to happen to the best of your ability. But there are going to be those times where you're not able to shift, you're not able to predict and know up front. That's when you're either going to need to react or pivot. So I wanted to be very clear on that. Pivoting means we about to make some shifts, because when we're gonna ignite some growth. Okay, this is long term. This is strategic. This is going from being that chief everything officer down in the weeds every day to being that visionary CEO where you're sitting up high. I tell you all the time, visionaries stand on the top of mountains. This is where you're standing up high and you're looking down. You're able to see what is going on so that you are able to strategically plan. You're able to do more than band aid the fix. You're able to set up a course of action that will not only fix what's going on today, but will help you to grow down the line. Does that make a sense? All right. So, with a pivot, it's not just adapting to the change. It's not just adapting to change and what's going on. Again, it's about strategically realigning your business to meet new market demands. Okay. So you want to be able to look at things from the big point of view and then work your way down small, instead of fixing this thing and then over here this fire breaks out and then this fire breaks out and then this fire breaks out. You want to be that helicopter in the sky that's just pouring down the water, that is putting out the entire fire, but it's also putting down that protectant that will keep fires from reigniting. Does that make sense? All right. So When you feel like you're getting stuck in a rut, then you need to use these changes that I'm going to share with you today to accelerate your business's growth, and reclaim momentum. Okay, when you accelerate growth and reclaim momentum, you're actually creating a space for innovation. Innovation means something new. And biblically, we know that every time God creates something new inside of us, we grow to a new level. So every time you are able to accelerate growth in your business, to reclaim momentum, or to create a space for innovation, you're creating a place where your business is going to be able to grow and thrive. All right? Make sense? Okay. So think of it as pushing the refresh button. We all know that every day you get out, Romans 12:2 says, renew your mind. Okay, well, you want to make sure you're refreshing your business. All right? Glad that makes sense. Okay. So when do you pivot in your business? Okay, there's three different signs of when you need to pivot. And I'm going to talk about each one of those signs, but more importantly, I'm going to give you some keys on how to move forward, okay? Because we don't want to just talk about the problem. We want to create a solution. If you know me, you know I'm that person that when you come with a problem, we can have a pity party and woo 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 that first time. But after that, my mind goes into solution solving. It goes into how are we going to solve this problem? And so that's what I want you to do as CEOs. I want you to take a moment when something comes at you and say, this is what it is. This is how it makes me feel. But then I want you to get activated. I want you to look for the solution. I want you to figure out how you're going to move forward, get a plan of action in place, and move forward with it. We're not sitting around having pity parties. Okay? All right. Cool beans. So the first sign that you may need to pivot is that your revenue has become stagnant. Okay. What does stagnant mean? Stagnant means that it's not going anywhere. Stagnant means like when you go into the kitchen or the bathroom and you run water in the sink and the water is not going out. It's just staying right there. That's stagnant. It's not growing. The water's not draining. It's not getting higher. Once you turn the water off, it's just stagnant. There's something that is going on underneath in the pipes that is keeping the water from going back out. So what is happening in your business when it becomes stagnant, when your revenues become stagnant, is that your revenues are just staying the same. They're not growing. Okay. They're just staying where they're at. You're not bringing in any additional monies. All right. So your income has basically flatlined. All right. It's kind of like when you're losing weight and you lose like that first 12 pounds, because we know most of that's water weight, but in our minds it's a whole lot more. And so you lose that first weight, and then what happens is you just kind of plateau, because that of course was water weight. You have to do something additional. You have to do something more to continue to take the weight off. You have to adjust or tweak either your eating habits or your exercise habits, your sleep patterns, something so that you can ignite that weight to continue to fall off. Making sense? All right. So that's the same thing in your business. Your revenues become stagnant. And so you don't panic, but you don't want to ignore it. What you want to do is you want to figure out why it's stagnant. Okay. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons that it could be stagnant. And in giving you those reasons, it's also going to give you the direction of the action plan so that you can move forward and fix that problem. Okay. So first, your offers may not be converting like they used to. You have a coaching program. If you're a coach and you have a coaching program or a membership model, and you were seeing that you consistently had people coming in, the numbers were growing, but now you're not converting like you used to. You're not having as many people sign up each month, each week, each launch. This could signal that your audience has changed, or that the solution that you offer no longer resonates. What does that mean? That means that either the people who are now paying attention to you are not people who need that solution that you've been providing. They may have a different problem. Their problem may present in a different way, and therefore you need to provide the solution in a different way. Okay? Or it could be that the solution that you have, it just isn't fitting for right now. A good example of that is with and I try to use my business because I don't want to put people's business out there, but with the business assistance group, the Done For You agency, we provided copy and we provide the automation. We do a complete Done For You. Well, as AI continues to burst on the scene and go harder and harder, we've had to cut back on our copy team because a lot more people are able, with the help of AI, with the help of whichever tool you choose to use, to be able to create the copy to speak in their language. It's a wonderful thing because now people are able to get the thoughts that are in their head and be able to get them out so they are authentically theirs. Okay. But at the same time, when I advertise the Done For You services, people are not as concerned. They're not, the copy isn't as appealing anymore because they can, on their own, they feel, work with ChatGPT. Now, if you're using it AI, if you're using it correctly, then that's cool. But again, it wasn't that the solution isn't needed. It's that that portion of it is not as attractive to my ideal client. So that's where you have to make some shifts. You have to make some pivots. Okay? Make sense? All right. So I want you to think about that. What about your offer could be something that you need to make a shift or pivot, that you need to tweak? What's something that may not be as relevant? What is something that is more in demand? Okay. So whereas copy is less attractive to my ideal client, the automations and then making sure that they can be able to use those systems on their own or put a team in place is more appealing. So there's always, God don't close the door without opening a window. So make sure that as you're looking for what may not be resonating, that you're also looking at what you might need to add. All right. Or your pricing model might be outdated. Again, using that same example, when a part of your offer is no longer relevant, then you can't continue to charge the same price. You could be undercharging, you could be overcharging, you could the value that you provide could not be matched to the investment that you're asking your clients to make. And just as important as it is to make sure that you're not overcharging, it's very important to make sure that you're not undervaluing what you offer and you're missing out on high ticket opportunities. Because what is going to happen is that in that instance, your ideal client is not attracted to it because it's not the right price. Okay. And you could be selling the wrong thing to the right people. Or the right thing to the wrong people. Again, that goes with that whole, are you very clear with your messaging? Do you know who is your ideal client, and how do you do what you do for them? But either way, the alignment is off. So if your offers aren't converting, or your pricing model is outdated, or you're selling the wrong thing to the right people or the right thing to the wrong people, then you might want to pivot, adjust your offers, your pricing, or your positioning so that you can reignite momentum and then be able to clear up that stagnant revenue. Is that making sense? All right. So then the second thing is that your customer feedback is telling a new story. Remember, we're talking about the 3 signs that it's time to pivot. The first was that your revenues were stagnant. The second is that your customer feedback is telling a new story. Basically, it's market research, it's feedback after you've done the services or while you're doing the service, it's testimonials. Listen to what people are saying. People will tell you what they need. The easiest way to know what's the next thing you need to do is to listen to the people that you've already helped. They're going to tell you what they need next. Okay? If you're listening, your current clients are your best market research. I'm going to say that again. If you're listening, your current clients are your best market research. If they're asking for different results than what your current services deliver, that's a sign that you might need to shift in what it is that you're offering them. If they're not renewing, if you have something and you know that it's something that they need, if you provide accounting services, if you provide attorney services, if you provide done for you services, and you notice that people are not renewing, you need to ask the questions and figure out why are they not renewing. If it's anything other than they don't have the money, then you need to listen real hard and see what you can do to help that situation. Are people not upselling? Are they not going into your next offer? They've done all the work they needed to do at this level. You have this next level, but they're not going. Do they understand what the next level is? Is that the level that they know that they need? Or have you just created an offer because that's what you think? Are you listening to what they're saying? Are they then referring other people? Okay. So if you're not able to keep clients long term, then that is an indication that something is going on and you need to make some pivots. And if you keep attracting the wrong client or clients outside of your ideal niche, specifically if you are seeking to work with a certain type of individual, but you keep getting this other type of individual, then you really need to look at your marketing. You need to look at your messaging because it's not clear. Who you're talking to is not hearing you, and the people that you're not talking to are hearing you. Good messaging not only attracts your ideal client, but it repels the people who are not your ideal client. Okay? So a pivot will allow you to shift toward the people who need what you do now, not just on what they've worked on in the past. Okay. So, first, we talked about the stagnant revenue. And second, we talked about your customer feedback is a telling story. Last is operational bottlenecks. And y'all know this is my playground. This is where I love to play. If your business feels harder to run than it used to, if you feel like you coming home to endless stacks of paperwork, you bringing your business into your bedroom, you working later, you don't feel a sense of accomplishment. It just seems like the more money you make, the more clients you bring, the more problems you have, then you have bottlenecks in place. Growth requires new solutions. It's time to make some shifts, some pivots so that you can operate at the level that you exist. Okay? So if you constantly putting out fires, you running around like little fires everywhere, that's a red flag that your systems or offers don't scale well. So we need to look at your processes. We need to look at your systems. We need to figure out where you can better delegate or automate. If your team members are confused about their priorities or their roles, what it is that they should be doing, the tasks that they should be doing, then that points out to the fact that you have structural inefficiencies. Or the best way to say it is that your SOPs are not lining up. And remember, SOPs are simply the step-by-step directions. If they're not clear on what it is they're supposed to be doing, and you don't have SOPs, we need to get some. But if you do have them in place and they're still confused, then there's a misalignment there. So we need to update those. And if you're maxed out on time, but you're not seeing maximum results, so you're filled to capacity, but you're not able to do what you need to do, that's a sign that your model needs to be streamlined or redesigned. Okay? This looks like automating processes. This looks like updating SOPs. This looks like restructuring your offers. This looks like simplifying all the things that go on behind the scenes for your business to operate. This looks like making sure that you have team members and you're optimizing them. You're optimizing the systems that you have in place. Okay? So how do you pivot strategically? Whether it's because of stagnant revenue, whether it's because your customer feedback is telling you that something's not right, or whether you have operational bottlenecks, pivoting is not about throwing everything away. I want to be very clear on that. Pivoting does not mean that you throw everything away and you start fresh. It means that you take a moment and you assess what is working, you determine what is not working, you separate the two, you get rid of the things that are not working, and you bring in some things that will support what is already working. so that everything kind of ties together better and you're able to continue to build. So let's be very clear. Pivoting is not throwing everything away. Is that cool? All right. So what you want to do is start with your strengths. Again, what is working? What are you known for? What gets results for your clients? Ask the questions. It is so easy yet so hard to say, you got 5 minutes, I just want to talk to you, and ask them, what's working, what's not working? What would you like to see more of? It can be hard, but yet it is the easiest way to get the answers that you need so that you can make the adjustments. It's much easier to fix what you have and continue working with the clients you have than to go out and get all new clients. Okay, make sense? All right. Then you want to make sure that you look, after you know your strengths, look at what is going on in the market. Look at what is going on external to your business. Okay, so that what are opportunities are available? Is there something that's going on right now that you could truly capitalize on? If you provide training and career services to help people find new jobs, you should be out here giving it your best gusto, because people are leaving their jobs, whether they're leaving because they're resigning, they're retiring, or they're being pushed out the door. People are leaving, and in most instances, they need something to replace that income. So you need to make sure that the opportunities that you have, that the strengths that you have are matching up with this opportunity in the marketplace. If one of the things that you offer is resume writing, well, guess what? You need to go real hard on that right now, because people need that. Okay. So sometimes it just means that you kind of shift the percentages in how you're moving. There may be an offer that you did 50% of your time, and resume building is 35% of your time. Well, guess what? Right now, people need they need less of the training on the job. They need more of the resume writing to get the job. So you might need to shift your ratios. So it's not always that you have to do a new thing. It's that you may need to change the harmony, the balance in what it is you're doing. Okay. And then test small before going all in. There's nothing wrong with having a beta group. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I would like to know I'm already working with this client. Would you be willing to test this out for me? I want to put this in place. I have a new workbook. I have a new course. I have a new something. Would you like to try it out? And you don't have to give it away for free. Beta means that it's a new offer at a lower price. So you offer it to them because there's still value. And then that way you're able to have the conversations and be able to determine how you need to, if there's tweaks that you need to make it and how you can make it better. Okay. So pilot a new offer, shift your messaging a little bit, change your workflow, test it out a little bit before you revamp completely. All right. So how do you pivot strategically? You're going to start with your strengths. Then you're going to look for your opportunities. What's going on external to your business? And then last but not least, test before you jump all the way in. So what I want you to do today, what's your actionable strategy? Because I always give you something to walk away with. Because if you're like me, when I learn something, it's cool to read a book and learn how to do something. But if I can put that skill right into place, we used to call it just-in-time training. If I can learn it and then use it, that's amazing. So what I want you to do so that you can take what I've said here today and be able to put it right into practice so that you can make sure that you're growing, continuing to grow and scale your business. What needs to change in your business to better serve your customers and your business or yourself? I want you to write down 1 to 3 small strategic steps that you can take over the next 7 days to move toward that pivot. Whether it's the stagnant revenues, whether it's listening to what your customers or your clients are saying, whether you have operational bottlenecks in place, what are the 1 to 3 strategic steps that you can take over the next 7 days? And then what is the solution what is the result that you expect to see as a result of making those changes? At the end of the 7 days, if the result doesn't match or doesn't exceed what you expected, then that might not be the change you're supposed to make. All right. So I want to thank you guys for coming today to today's Brown Bag Big Business Boost. We talked about knowing when you need to pivot for growth. Period, point blank. Knowing when you need to pivot. How do you adjust your business model for changing market conditions? All right. So if you found this helpful, I want you to do a couple of things for me. One, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because later on this month, we're going to be doing more activities to support these Brown Bag Business Boosts on YouTube only. Also, I want you to share it with a friend. Caring is sharing. So share it with a friend. And third, leave me a comment and let me know, give me some feedback. Let me know what's working, because I too want to continue to make sure that as we revamp the Brown Bag Business Boost, that it's giving you what you need. So drop a comment or send me a DM and tell me what you want to learn more about, what you really enjoyed from today, and how you want to move forward. What's next for you? All right. So thanks, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.